Thank you very much. This is my first paper out of 3 papers in the PhD. And this paper has benefited a lot from this doctoral conference 3 years ago, from the EAA conference, the European Accounting Association's conference in 2016, and mainly from my supervisor's guidance and advice. Even that the clicker is not working, I'll be standing here. So, we have a policy, a change in accounting standards, and we are examining whether this change in accounting standards affect aspects of dividend policy. So, we are examining these, the change in the aspects of dividend policy in Western Europe, mainly, specifically, United Kingdom and France. These changes are primarily attributed to a mitigation in information asymmetry due to this change in accounting standards that were caused by the adoption of international financial reporting standards in 2005. According to several previous papers, this set of new accounting standards are expected to mitigate information asymmetry, to increase the accounting disclosure, and to improve the information environment. So, we are examining 2 main aspects of the dividend policy: the level of dividend payout, so whether the firms respond by increasing or decreasing dividends, and the change in the value relevance of dividends. This diagram demonstrates the paper, all of the paper. So we have IFRS with all of its attributes: increased disclosure, higher accounting quality, and enhanced comparability of accounting figures. These were found to mitigate information asymmetry, and now we have 2 parallel paths as a result of this mitigation. In the first path, this mitigation of information asymmetry, according to Myers and Majloff 1984 in their similar paper, they show that less information asymmetry facilitates external financing, equity financing and debt financing, and this partially solves the underinvestment problem and the cash over retention by firms, and therefore there is no need to retain the same amount of cash inside the firm. Thus, we would expect these managers to pay more dividends. I'll explain later on what are H1 and H2. In parallel, this mitigation of information asymmetry and these 3 attributes of IFRS are expected to improve the accounting value relevance, and therefore the value relevance of dividends is expected to decrease. So some motivation for the dividend payout hypothesis, the main hypothesis. D'Angelo et al. 2008 published a survey about the corporate dividend payout policy, and they explain it under information asymmetry using the agency theory and the pecking order theory. We adopt or rely on the pecking order theory by Myers and Majloff 1984, where they argue and show that analytically that a lower level of information asymmetry is expected to solve the financing problem, and therefore dividends would go up. Okay, this is mainly what I said. As for the second hypothesis, second main hypothesis, actually it's the third, but the second concept, the value relevance of dividends. When information asymmetry is very high, investors, outsiders try to capture signals from the firm. Thus, dividends is considered one of the main signals that signal the future performance of a firm, given that accounting numbers are vague, more or less, or being managed or whatever, because of the high level of information asymmetry. If a better information environment is induced due to a new set of accounting standards, then we would expect the value relevance of dividends to decrease, and at the same time, the value relevance of accounting to increase. So, we test these 2 main concepts in a common law code law setting, where the common law setting, the common law accounting system is the essence of IFRS, and therefore the UK, which is a common law country, is not expected to witness much of an effect due to the IFRS adoption. However, France, which is a code law country and which is a very comparable economy to the UK, is expected to witness a material change in the accounting standards and the information environment due to the adoption of IFRS. So we have UK as a control group, we have France as a treatment group, and this facilitates the implementation of a difference in differences methodology as a research design. So in the first hypothesis, we test whether the change in the level of dividend payout in France increases significantly compared to the change in UK after IFRS adoption. In the second hypothesis, we take only France, because it's the treatment group, and we split the sample into two: a low accounting quality sample out of the treatment group and a high accounting quality sample out of the same treatment group. So France is now categorized into two groups: high accounting quality and low accounting quality. And if IFRS were to improve the accounting and improve the information environment, then we would expect a higher effect for IFRS for those who had a lower accounting quality prior to adopting IFRS. So these two hypotheses are the level of the dividend payout. The third hypothesis is the change in the value relevance of dividends upon adoption of IFRS. So as mentioned, we have UK and France between 2001 and 2008, following Hail et al. In Journal of Accounting Research, 2014. The sample selection criterion stems from the geographic discontinuity regression, which assigns control and treatment groups using the geographic boundaries. We exclude some firms and apply some data restrictions following prior research, and we end up with 4,340 firm year observations in the UK and 3,075 firm year observations in France. So the dividend payout model mainly follows FAMA and French 2001, and we add some more controls from the modern literature, mainly repurchases, which are an alternative way to pay out to investors. So the model is mainly total dividends, which is the scaled level of dividend payout. And then we have an IFRS dummy variable, which takes the value of 1 if a year it's 2005 or beyond. A code law dummy variable, which takes the value of 1 if it's a French firm, 0 otherwise, meaning UK firm. And then the difference in differences estimated. We have a vector of control variables and the conventional econometric practice, year fixed effects, industry fixed effects. As for the value relevance, dividend value relevance, we change the dependent variable into the market value. This is an accounting-based valuation model following Olson and as applied in Chen and Stark 2013. So it's basically the model is regressing the market value of the firm on the net income and book value of equity. What we are testing is how the value relevance of dividends change after IFRS. So we would expect that this interaction term to be more negative for the French sample. And then, of course, we have the controls and the rest of the variables. So beta 3 is expected to be negative more, significantly more for the French group or the treatment group. Now, again, the dividend payout model, so the main hypothesis, this is the change over time from 2001 till 2008 for the French sample, and you can see how it was more or less steady and then goes up with a positive slope. However, the control group, the UK group of firms, have more or less the same level of payout. So the main regression, hypothesis 1, OLS regression, we have the common law group, cold law group, and all the firms. The common law group, we see that the effect of IFRS on the level of dividends is insignificant. And this confirms that our control group has witnesses no effect for IFRS adoption. The cold law group, which are the French firms, you can see that there is an economic and statistical significance for the IFRS dummy, and this results in a significant difference in differences effect for IFRS in our regressions. As a robustness for this model, one of the robustness tests is a matched regression where we matched based on performance, ROA, firm size, year, and industry. And again, our results persist. I think it's better, not even persist. Yeah, the economic significance improves when we use matched regressions. Now, the second hypothesis, where we split the French or the treatment sample into high and low, we use 3 criteria to split this sample. We use the Dicho et al. 1995 cross-sectional modified Jones model as a dummy variable before IFRS adoption. So those who fall above the median of the sample are categorized as low accounting quality, and below the median as high accounting quality. The second one, that 2, is the mapping of cash flow into accruals, which is the Dicho and Dichev 2002. And the third one is the stock return volatility over the year. So we have 3 criteria, and all of them are consistent, showing that low accounting quality firms prior to IFRS adoption benefited more from this adoption post-2005. And as you can see, there is an effect for both, but it's almost as double as the effect for IFRS is as double as for low quality compared to high quality French firms, with a significant differences estimate. The same applies for the second criterion, where we have a significant difference in differences, and the same for the volatility of stock returns, daily stock returns. The same, so the 3 criteria retrieves this consistent results. As for the third model, how much time do I have? Okay. This model is a bit less straightforward than the previous ones. So we have common law, code law in 3 models. The difference between these models are the inclusion of the variables, and I'll tell you in a minute what I'm saying. So in the first model, we simply test if the value relevance of dividends has decreased in common law and common law samples. And we see that, as you can see, that in the common law sample, there is a negative but insignificant change in the value relevance of dividends after IFRS adoption. However, for the code law, it's significantly negative. However, the difference between these 2 coefficients is significant at the 10% level, which is okay, but still we would like to have it at the 5% level. When we include the interaction of the accounting numbers with IFRS, so the book value of equity and the net income interacted with IFRS, which captures the change in the value relevance of accounting variables after IFRS adoption, as you can see, the dividends value relevance persists as negative, but the significance of the difference between these 2 coefficients become significant at 5% level, and this result persists after including all the controls. There's the vector of control variables. So the main intuition behind what I'm saying is that when we interact the accounting variables with the IFRS dummy variable, the value relevance of dividends becomes significantly negative for the cold law sample compared to the common law sample. So this serves our main hypothesis that what's causing these changes is the improvement in the accounting system and nothing else. Not nothing else. The main the main thing. Okay, so we contribute to the literature by showing that information shocks serve investors and lessens the friction between information friction between investors and managers. We also show that in common law countries, the adoption of IFRS won't have much of an effect. However, in the code law countries, given the material difference between IFRS and their code law, their accounting system, which is mainly structured to serve the taxation and the government needs, not the capital market needs, these countries would witness a lot of effect post-IFRS or following IFRS. And so the main contribution is that aspects of dividend policy change in favor of investors or shareholders after IFRS adoption in code law countries. And thank you very much.